There is a single sentence written 2,500 years ago that contains the entire DNA of victory and defeat. It is the most famous line in military history, yet almost no one knows how to apply it in real life. Sun Tzu, the legendary Chinese general, wrote, "All warfare is based on deception." This means that honesty, transparency, and straightforwardness are not virtues in competition. They are vulnerabilities. If your enemy knows you are strong, they will prepare a defense that you cannot break. If your enemy knows you are weak, they will attack you with overwhelming force and crush you. To win, you must break the link between reality and perception. You must become a phantom. The core of this philosophy is the rule: appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. Today, we will dissect the psychology of strategic deception and how to use your enemy's ego against them. We will analyze the masterclass of Sun Bin at the Battle of Meiling, where he used campfires to fake a retreat. We will look at the empty fort strategy of Zhuge Liang, who defeated an army of 150,000 men by playing a lute. And we will explore the modern application, sandbagging in negotiations, and the Columbo Method of interrogation. By the end of this video, you will understand why the most dangerous person in the room is the one who looks harmless. You will learn to cloak your ambition, hide your intelligence, and strike only when the enemy has lowered their shield. To understand the power of feigning weakness, we must look at the biological imperative of camouflage. In nature, predators do not wear neon signs announcing their presence. They blend in with the grass. The lion looks like the savannah. The crocodile looks like a floating log. The trapdoor spider looks like dirt. They understand that the element of surprise is the only multiplier that can defeat a faster or stronger opponent. Human conflict is no different, but our camouflage is psychological, not physical. We camouflage our intentions, our capabilities, and our intelligence behind a mask of mediocrity. Consider the historical case of Sun Bin, a descendant of Sun Tzu during the Warring States period. He was facing the Wei army, led by his former rival, Pang Huan, a man who was arrogant and aggressive. Sun Bin knew that Pang Huan viewed the Qi army as cowardly and weak soldiers who would run away. Instead of trying to prove his strength, Sun Bin decided to confirm his enemy's bias. He ordered his army to light 100,000 campfires on the first night of their march into enemy territory. On the second night, he ordered them to light only 50,000 fires, cutting the number in half. On the third night, he ordered only 20,000 fires, creating the illusion of a massive desertion. Pang Huan looked at the diminishing fires and laughed. "I knew the men of Qi were cowards. Half of them have fled." Blinded by his ego and the illusion of weakness, Pang Huan abandoned his heavy infantry and supply wagons. He took only his light cavalry and rushed forward at full speed to catch the fleeing army. He wanted the glory of the kill. He stopped thinking strategically and started acting impulsively. This was exactly what Sun Bin wanted. He had lured the enemy into a narrow pass at Marling. Sun Bin stripped the bark off a large tree and wrote on the white wood, "Pang Huan dies under this tree." He placed 10,000 archers in the cliffs above, with orders to shoot when they saw a light at the base of the tree. When Pang Huan arrived at night, he saw the white wood and lit a torch to read the writing. The moment the torch flared, 10,000 arrows rained down, decimating his army instantly. Pang Huan realized too late that the weakness was a trap, and he slit his own throat in shame. Sun Bin appeared weak, disorganized, fearful, deserting, to make his enemy arrogant and reckless. This is the psychological mechanism. When people think you are weak, they drop their guard, they stop analyzing your moves, they become sloppy, they reveal their own plans because they do not fear you. Arrogance is the blindness that precedes destruction, and you can induce that blindness by playing the fool. In the modern world, we call this the Columbo Method, named after the TV detective. Columbo wore a dirty raincoat, drove a broken car, acted confused, and asked silly questions. The suspects, wealthy, intelligent murderers, looked at him and thought, "This idiot is no threat to me." Because they felt superior, they relaxed, they talked too much, they patronized him. And in their arrogance, they slipped up and revealed the one detail that allowed Columbo to catch them. If Columbo had acted smart, aggressive, and competent, the suspects would have walled up. Intelligence creates defense. Perceived incompetence creates openness. How do you apply this in a high-stakes negotiation or a corporate environment? Never reveal your full intelligence or your full preparation at the start of the meeting. If you walk in with a perfect suit, a perfect presentation, and aggressive body language, you trigger their defenses. They think, this person is a shark, and they will fight you for every penny. Instead, ask simple questions. Ask them to explain things you already know. Act slightly unsure. Make them feel like the teacher. Make them feel like they are guiding you to the deal. When they feel they are in control, they will offer concessions they would never offer to a shark. Then, at the critical moment, when the contract is on the table, you switch. You reveal that you know the numbers better than they do. You point out the clause they missed. The shock of your competence will be doubly effective because it contrasts with their expectation. This is the art of sandbagging, hiding your skill level to hustle the opponent. But the art of war has a second half. Appear strong when you are weak. This is used when you are vulnerable, when you are cornered, and when fighting would mean annihilation. The goal here is not to ambush, but to deter, to make the enemy too afraid to attack. The ultimate example is the empty fort strategy used by the strategist Zhuge Liang. He was garrisoned in a small city with only a handful of old soldiers and civilians. His scout reported that Sima Yi, the enemy general, was approaching with an army of 150,000 veterans. Zhuge Liang had no time to flee and no power to fight. Logic dictated surrender or death. Instead, he ordered the gates of the city to be thrown wide open. He ordered his soldiers to hide. He ordered a few old men to sweep the streets calmly at the entrance. Zhuge Liang himself climbed to the top of the city wall, sat down, and began to play a lute calmly. He lit incense. He looked relaxed. He looked like a man who did not have a care in the world. When Sima Yi arrived with his massive army, he halted. He looked at the open gates. He looked at the calm sweeper. He looked at Zhuge Liang playing music on the wall. Sima Yi knew Zhuge Liang was a genius of ambushes. He knew he never took risks. He thought, the gates are open because there is a trap inside. The calm is a lure. Terrified of an ambush he could not see, Sima Yi ordered his 150,000 men to retreat immediately. Zhuge Liang defeated an army without firing a single arrow, simply by projecting absolute confidence. This teaches us that power is not just about reality, it is about the perception of reality. If you are in a weak position, you lost your job, you have no money, you are alone, do not show it. If you act desperate, people will prey on you. They will offer you bad deals. They will disrespect you. The smell of blood attracts sharks. Desperation is the blood in the water. When you are weak, you must act as if you have a royal flush in your hand. Dress your best. Speak with certainty. Walk as if you own the building. This is not faking it until you make it. This is strategic deterrence. You are creating a risk premium for anyone who thinks about attacking you. They will look at your confidence and think, he knows something I don't know. Uncertainty creates hesitation, and hesitation gives you time to recover and find a real solution. However, you must know when to use which mask. Use the mask of weakness when you want to attack, when you want to gather information, or when you want to lower defenses. Use the mask of strength when you want to avoid a fight, when you are vulnerable, or when you need to buy time. The mistake most people make is that they do the opposite because of their ego. When they are strong, they brag, they show off, they intimidate. This alerts their enemies and creates a coalition against them. When they are weak, they complain, they beg, they look sad. This invites contempt and exploitation. You must kill your ego. Your ego wants to be recognized as smart and strong all the time. But your ego is not a strategist. Your ego is a child craving validation. A strategist does not care about being seen as smart. He cares about winning. If being seen as a fool gets you the victory, then wearing the fool's mask is the smartest thing you can do. Let's analyze the Trojan Horse, the Western archetype of this law. The Greeks could not breach the walls of Troy with force. The walls were too strong. So they pretended to give up. They burned their camps, they sailed their ships away, They left a giant wooden horse as a gift to the gods, a symbol of their defeat. The Trojans looked at the empty beach and believed the war was over. They dragged the horse inside their walls. They celebrated. They got drunk. They slept. Inside the horse, the Greek special forces were waiting, silent and patient. At night, they climbed out, opened the gates, and the Greek army returned to burn the city. The Trojans were not defeated by strength. They were defeated by their own relief. They lowered their guard because they believed the threat was gone. In your life, you will face walls you cannot breach with force. Maybe it is a gatekeeper in your industry. Maybe it is a stubborn client. Maybe it is a bureaucratic rule. Do not bang your head against the wall. Pretend to walk away. Pretend to give up. Pretend to accept their no. When the pressure is off, they will relax. That is when you look for the side door. That is when you introduce your Trojan horse. A new idea, a different contact, a subtle maneuver. There is a biological basis for this in the animal kingdom, known as Thanatosis, playing dead. The opossum plays dead when threatened. The predator sniffs it, loses interest, and walks away. Once the predator is gone, the opossum resurrects and escapes. It is not cowardice, it is a survival mechanism encoded in DNA. The apex mindset requires you to detach your self-worth from others' perception of you. Are you secure enough in your intelligence to let people think you are stupid? Are you secure enough in your strength to let people think you are weak? If you need constant external validation, you are easily manipulated. If you can endure being underestimated, you become the manipulator. Being underestimated is the ultimate competitive advantage. It is like having an invisibility cloak. You can move through the room without triggering alarms. You can hear things you weren't supposed to hear. You can position your pieces without resistance. And then, when the trap is set, when the campfires are reduced, when the enemy is in the narrow pass, you strike. You strike with the force of 10,000 arrows raining down from the cliffs, and the look of shock on their face will be your reward. They will not understand what happened. They will wonder how they lost to someone so weak. They will die under the tree, never realizing that they were fighting a phantom. This is the art of war. It is not about the clash of swords. It is about the clash of minds. Appear formless, appear confusing, appear harmless, and then be the lightning that strikes from the clear blue sky.